Hi, I'm Pat Mangan, Director of Governance Education at NRECA. Welcome to Governance Talk. My guest today is Susan Olander. Susan, you are the Vice President and General Counsel at Federated Rural Electric Insurance Exchange. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Pat. I appreciate it.
I want to talk with you about sexual harassment today. It's something that has been with us for a long time. It's certainly been in the news most recently quite a bit.
It has.
And I always think it's a good idea to start off with a definition. Could you define sexual harassment for us?
Sexual harassment is a violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, as amended. It occurs when an employee is subjected to sex-based behavior in the workplace that is unwelcome to that employee.
Okay.
Two key components of sexual harassment. Obviously, it's sex-based behavior, but it's unwelcome and it's severe and or pervasive. And it becomes actionable. The employee becomes the victim if that behavior occurs in the workplace.
I see. What does sexual harassment look like in the workplace?
There's two types of sexual harassment. We're going to talk today about hostile environment.
Okay.
Sexual harassment. The other is quid pro quo. It's this for that. I've not seen that, particularly in our industry. I have seen a problem with hostile environment sexual harassment, which is where an employee is uncomfortable performing in the workplace and the behavior has created a hostile, intimidating, or offensive environment. There's lots of ways that hostile environment sexual harassment can occur in the workplace. It kind of breaks down into four. You can have verbal sexual harassment.
Okay.
My biggest warning is don't ask an employee for a date after they've told you no once. It can be off-color jokes in the workplace. Just don't do it. You get physical sexual harassment. Don't touch, don't pinch, don't hug somebody.
Susan, if a director observes sexual harassment, what's their next step?
If they see that happening in the workplace and they're not involved in it, they need to let the chairman of the board know. And they need to tell the chairman of the board the facts, when it occurred, what happened, what the employee's reaction was, who did the harassing, what was said or done. And the chairman of the board should take that to the CEO. Because with sexual harassment, if it occurs in the workplace, it has to be investigated immediately.
By law?
By law.
Okay.
And if the director says nothing, the cooperative still has knowledge. The director's knowledge is imputed knowledge to the cooperative.
Tell us what you mean by imputed knowledge.
Because someone in an official position within the organization knew, the organization is presumed to have known.
I see.
So
and there's liability there.
There is, yes, potential liability there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What are the risks if I see it and do nothing?
The risks if you don't do anything are several. Primarily is liability, which if you're stopping it the first time, maybe it's not severe and pervasive. Remember I said it had to be severe and pervasive. If you don't say anything, the behavior may continue.
Yeah.
And it starts tipping into severe and pervasive. If you don't say anything, you also don't start the clock running on an investigation. The law says you've got to investigate as soon as practical, which is usually 24 hours.
Okay.
The longer it goes on, the greater the potential harm, the greater the potential damage.
Susan, can you give us two takeaways to directors to keep in mind with regard to this subject?
One, know what sexual harassment is and don't engage in that behavior,
Okay.
even among fellow directors. And two, if you observe it, if you observe an employee of the cooperative being harassed, tell your chair so the chair can tell the CEO. If you see a fellow director being harassed, tell the chair and let the board govern itself and discipline itself and stop the behavior.
Because this could very well happen in the boardroom, director to director.
It could. And the cooperative doesn't have liability there because the director's not an employee. Only employees can be victims. But you have created a situation in the boardroom where the board is not functioning well. and it's behavior that's unwanted and needs to be stopped.
Susan Olander, thanks very much for coming in today.
Thank you, Pat.